The countdown has begun. The year 2026 is no longer just a number on a calendar. It represents a looming pivot point in the global balance of power. For decades, the United States has held a dominant grip on the world's most essential resource of the digital age, semiconductors. These tiny, intricate chips are the brains behind everything from smartphones and laptops to advanced military systems and artificial intelligence. The U.S., through alliances and export controls, has maintained a strategic advantage in semiconductor technology, especially in the realm of cutting-edge manufacturing equipment. But a major shift is underway. China has launched an ambitious and deeply strategic plan, one that doesn't just aim to compete with the US in semiconductor technology, but to displace it. This isn't a vague aspiration. This is a state-directed mission with a clear, meticulously detailed roadmap to achieve semiconductor self-sufficiency by 2026. It's not just about catching up, it's about bypassing and even rendering obsolete the choke points that have allowed Western nations to control the global chip supply chain. This moment is not just about economic competition. It is about control over the technologies that will define the next century: artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and next-generation military capabilities. Whoever leads in semiconductors controls the building blocks of the future. The implications go far beyond boardrooms and stock markets. This is about technological sovereignty and geopolitical leverage. For years, the US and its allies, particularly countries like the Netherlands and Japan, have enjoyed dominance in chip manufacturing thanks to their near monopoly over the most complex and expensive machines required for producing leading-edge chips. These include extreme ultraviolet lithography systems, known as EUV, which are vital for producing the smallest, most powerful semiconductors. These machines, developed by companies like ASML, are so advanced that without them, it's virtually impossible to manufacture chips at 5 nanometers or below. They are the beating heart of the digital world. China's desire for semiconductor independence is not new. What's new is the speed and intensity of their pursuit, driven in part by mounting export restrictions and sanctions from the US and its allies. These restrictions were intended to slow China down, to box it out of the most advanced tech. But instead, they've triggered something different: a nationwide mobilization. Far from retreating, China has responded with an aggressive surge in domestic innovation, pouring billions into research and development, building a domestic ecosystem from scratch, and making breakthroughs. Recent reports from inside the tech industry point to unexpected and potentially game-changing progress. China is developing its own lithography tools, exploring alternative sources of EUV light, and making strides in chip design at the 3 nanometer level. Companies like Huawei, under severe sanctions, are reportedly developing advanced semiconductors using homegrown design software and manufacturing capabilities. These are not minor victories. These are fundamental steps toward breaking the US-led supply chain and establishing a parallel chip ecosystem, one that could ultimately outpace the West. This isn't just about building chips, it's about rebuilding the entire infrastructure required to produce them. From raw materials to advanced machinery to talent pipelines of skilled engineers. It's about duplicating and eventually surpassing the vast, intricate semiconductor networks that the West has spent decades creating. And China is not just mimicking existing methods, it is charting alternative paths, driven by necessity. Technologies like laser discharge plasma are being explored as potential substitutes for traditional EUV, offering ways to produce advanced chips without relying on patented Western systems or suppliers. In parallel, Chinese firms are reportedly developing novel chip architectures, including gate-all-around designs and carbon-based semiconductors. If these efforts succeed, it could mark a decisive leap in chip performance and energy efficiency, placing Chinese manufacturers on par with or ahead of global giants like TSMC and Samsung. And unlike the traditional Western approach, which often depends on private sector leadership, China's model is coordinated from the top down. The government is orchestrating funding, aligning research institutions, guiding corporate efforts, and streamlining supply chains. It's a full-spectrum assault on Western dominance in semiconductor technology. The consequences of this shift will be felt everywhere. For consumers, it could mean changes in the cost, availability, and performance of everyday electronics, from smartphones to electric vehicles. For businesses, it introduces new risk factors and supply chain considerations. For national security, the implications are profound. If China gains control over the production of advanced chips, it could remove a key lever that the US and its allies currently rely on to shape global technology access. It would also mean that critical military and intelligence systems could be powered by chips designed and manufactured outside Western oversight, a scenario with far-reaching implications. While the U.S. is not standing still, it has passed major legislation like the CHIPS Act and is investing heavily in domestic fabrication facilities and R&D. The speed and scale of China's progress have caught many by surprise. Long-held assumptions are being challenged. The belief that China would always lag several generations behind in chip technology is no longer safe. What's emerging is a new reality, one in which China could become not just self-sufficient, but globally competitive at the most advanced levels of semiconductor. The technical and logistical challenges ahead for China are enormous. Lithography remains an extraordinarily complex field. The specialized materials, the inspection tools, the ultra-pure chemicals, the vacuum chambers, and the need for extreme precision all create a high barrier to entry. Matching the yields and efficiencies of industry leaders like TSMC and Samsung will not be easy. These companies have spent decades refining their processes. But what China lacks in time-tested infrastructure, it is trying to overcome through a combination of state-backed investment, massive talent recruitment, and strategic partnerships. Every new patent filed, every research institute built, every domestic company nurtured is part of a national mission. And underestimate China's resolve at your peril. Their approach isn't about quarterly profits or market share. It's about long-term strategic advantage. If they succeed in building a fully self-sufficient semiconductor ecosystem by 2026, the global tech order will be permanently altered. The urgency of this moment cannot be overstated. It's not just a race for technological dominance. It's a battle over who writes the rules for the next era of computing. If the U.S. loses its position as the world's semiconductor superpower, it could trigger a cascade of shifts in trade, diplomacy, military power, and innovation. What we're seeing is a reordering of the global technology landscape, one silicon wafer at a time. This is a turning point, the silence before what could be a seismic change. The question is not whether the landscape will shift, it's how dramatically and how soon. 2026 is not far off, and when it arrives, the consequences will be felt in every country, every industry, every device. We've only scratched the surface of what this transformation could mean. The rise of a second semiconductor superpower could create a bifurcated tech world with incompatible standards, divided supply chains, and competing visions for the digital future. It could create new dependencies, new vulnerabilities, and new conflicts. Your perspective matters. How do you see this unfolding? Have you already felt the effects of supply chain disruption? What are your concerns or hopes about this shift in global technology leadership? Your insights and questions are part of the conversation, shaping our understanding of this pivotal moment. Stay informed, stay engaged, and keep watching closely, because what happens next